everyone, it's Tell Sports Radio. I'm your host, Ron Fitz. This is a college football edition, and the brackets are out, and Notre Dame didn't make it. I want to go over Saturday. Alabama got destroyed, and a lot of people didn't think Alabama deserved it. James Madison, Tulane got in because they were their conference winners in their conference. And then Miami made it by strength of head to head. The first game of the year in August decided the playoffs. That's amazing. That shouldn't be at all. But I'm going to go Indiana, Ohio State first, and how Indiana got the 1 seed. And when I saw the game, I said, man, this is a great and well coached Indiana team versus a very good coach with a great coordinator and semi pros, young freshman semi pro NFL draft picks with Ohio State because they're that good. What happened? The game bogged down. It wasn't up and down the field. And Sand didn't have the greatest game, and they attacked him. I mean, he was 21, 29, 258, but I felt like Mendoza had more of an impact. He made the plays that had to be made. And the two missed kicks. And I don't trust college kickers, but good gracious, it's equivalent of extra point to tie the game. And I'm assuming the game is going to be tied. In the end, I'm going to say, okay, they got to use clock. Once that happened, Indiana is such a well-coached team. They were able to take the last drive and convert and make huge conversions, which was huge. And they made the pass down the field, and it was huge. To Hut, I believe it was, let me see. I'm looking at the game now. To Charlie Becker, who's big. Charlie Becker, 33-yard reception, huge. Because they didn't try to run out the clock, and they were able to get field possession. And then when they punted, Ohio State didn't have enough time. But it was just the pressure that got put on Sand was the key to the game. And then the missed field goals. And they didn't let Jeremiah Smith blow the game to smithereens. He's an NFL receiver right now. And I thought Indiana would lose and they could get them in the playoffs because you've been hard to beat Indiana twice. I'm seeing what Ryan Day is saying. Yeah, this happened to us last year. The only reason I have reservations for Ohio State winning it all is they're young. And I kept saying this team's a year away. And Texas Tech is the team. They destroyed a real good BYU team. They are great on both sides of the football. Of course, Georgia is great on both sides of the football, and they're battle tested by playing the SEC. If you're coming out of SEC, even Alabama and Oklahoma and Georgia and Ole Miss, and if you were doing the playoffs the right way, you would have had Notre Dame and Texas and Vanderbilt in the playoffs if you're doing the best 12. But I understand you want the little guy to get in too. So, if you want the little guy to get in, you want the James Madisons and the Tulanes, okay. Then expand the playoffs because Notre Dame should be in. They lost to Miami head-to-head. I understand the committee's reservation. And their stretch of schedule, they didn't play terrible teams. I mean, USC was ranked. They won against some good competition. Miami ended up beating some really good teams they shouldn't have lost to. SMU was good. They had no business losing to Louisville. That was ridiculous. At home. That could have kept them out. But it keeps them in. And I believe if you had a 14-team play-in tournament, have James Madison and Tulane play each other, and the winner play the top seed, just the number 4 seed, and then you can add a Notre Dame and a Texas, and that's fine. Now you slide them in. I think the committee is going to do that. This is embarrassing because a playoff team got left out. I understand your logic, but it just made it looks bad. And people said, well, Alabama should have got left out. Alabama beat Georgia, and then, now you had to play Georgia again, and you're in the conference championship with an extra game, and they beat Vanderbilt. They lost to a playoff team in Oklahoma. Now losing to Florida State is disgusting. That could have kept them out, but Miami lost to Louisville. Alabama lost to Florida State. Alabama has a much tough. Miami would have lost 5 games in the SEC. Miami, I think they're good with Carson Beck, but I don't think they're a great team. Texas A&M is going to beat Miami, and you're going to get Texas A&M and Ohio State. And I believe Ole Miss is going to, even without their coach, is going to wax Tulane and play Georgia. That's going to be real interesting to going back to Georgia, where you lost with Lane Kiffin, now you don't have him. And then Alabama and Oklahoma. This is, if I'm Oklahoma, I'm not happy. They just went to Alabama to beat Alabama. Now you got to play them again in your home, but now they get to make adjustments. Oof. This is, I want to pick Oklahoma, but it's going to be hard to beat Alabama again, and they're going to be angry after getting destroyed by Georgia. And then the winner plays Indiana. Whoever Alabama, Oklahoma winner plays Indiana, that's a big time football game. If you get me Oregon and Texas Tech, I'm good with that. But like I said, Notre Dame, I'm gonna include Texas, and I'm gonna include Vanderbilt. I would like to see those teams in. But Notre Dame got hosed, but it's more the system because you couldn't have picked Notre Dame and then Miami doesn't get in there crying, holy heck. And I don't want to call the coach of Notre Dame a coward for not playing the bowl game. I think he read his team. He's like, you know what? They're probably not going to show up mentally. It's not worth it. I would have wanted them to play in the bowl game, but I can't. I'm not going to pass judgment on the coach when they didn't want to play. Not this time. If it's you were behind and the committee was showing you in the rankings every week behind Miami, and you know you're probably going to make it, that's different. But when you're all set up and they say, hey, every week, Notre Dame is a playoff team. Notre Dame is one of the hottest teams in America. Notre Dame is going to get in over Florida because of this. And if Alabama gets blown out, they're going to get in. Notre Dame's not in. Now what do? I mean, they ultimately teased Notre Dame the whole way. And the only thing about Notre Dame, if they would have not went for the 2 and took Texas A&M overtime and beat Texas A&M, they had the lead, Texas A&M is out. That's the key game. Early in the season, Texas A&M beating Notre Dame got Texas in and got Notre Dame out.